This is a summer truffle, and we're going to make truffle butter with it. First of all, we've got to grate it. Really, we only need about half of this truffle. Oh, truffles are just a wondrous thing. And we've grated about half of this truffle. Here is the truffles we need for our truffle butter. This is the most insanely simple recipe, and also just a wonderful recipe too. What you need for it is cream, truffles, and one of these. And what we're making is truffle butter. Now, to make butter, you need cream or creme fraiche. It doesn't matter which. In France, for example, it's very difficult to get normal pouring cream. They call it creme liquide. This is creme fraiche, and this does just as well, so even though it's fermented. And what we're going to do is turn this into butter. Now, the only ingredient you need to add to this to make it butter is absolutely nothing, apart from a little bit of perspiration perhaps. This is the cream, or the creme fraiche, depending on what your ingredient is, that we're going to make our butter from. And we don't need anything else to turn this from cream into butter, apart from a lot of effort. Or one of these. What you do, take anything you like and get the cream out. It's time to make butter. Put your cream into a bowl. There you are. And take your mixer and switch it on. Now this is the fun bit, and also potentially the messy bit, because in that cream there's butter and buttermilk, which is kind of like a skim milk, and you can use that for all sorts of things. Baking, we feed it to our chickens. There's all sorts of stuff you can do with that if you're into that kind of cooking. But we're probably going to throw that away. So we're going to put this in and whip the cream. Now you might expect there's more to this than that, putting some other ingredients in, whatever, but no there isn't. You just keep whipping this. Now after a little bit of time, it starts to go a bit chunky, and that's a good sign. Well, we've been doing that for about 2 minutes now, and it's starting to go buttery. Now if that was cream, that would have a bit more liquid in it, but as this is creme fraiche, which has a higher butter content, there's less liquid. But this is already turning into butter. Now you could do this manually. That's what they used to do in the old days. It would take a long time, and your arm would want to fall off. My arm's wanting to fall off after only a couple of minutes of holding a mixer. Now, you can see that the buttermilk is coming out. And once all that buttermilk is out, all that's going to be left behind is butter. This is going to get messy because now the buttermilk's going to go everywhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour some off. That's buttermilk, and it makes a very refreshing drink, apparently. This is what they used to drink in the old days before they invented Coca-Cola. So let's have a taste. Ooh, that's rather like a drinking yogurt. Ooh, that's really delicious. That's really delicious. I have to make some of this going forward. Gotta finish this off. Oh, it's lovely. Let's keep going. Let's get all that buttermilk out. That is butter. And that's 90% of all you need to know about making butter. There's one final thing, and that is in this butter, there's still buttermilk caught in amongst the butter solids. And you want to get rid of them, because if you don't, the butter doesn't keep so long because the buttermilk goes off. So you have to wash it out. I'm just going to drink this final buttermilk. Here's to the cow that gave me this butter. Scrumpy. Now, the way you get rid of the buttermilk caught in here is to put cold water in it and wash it out with water. Now, it's cold water because obviously if it was warm, the butter would melt and that wouldn't be so good. So now, having beaten that, you can see there's a water in there, misty water, and that's the buttermilk with the water we've washed it out with. Now, some people say you should just do this with it, and that will squeeze it out, but I think using the blender is probably a good idea. So more stirring. We want to get as much of that buttermilk out as we possibly can. So as you can see, it's still pretty misty. Doing this with a little paddle or a fork actually helps get the water out. There we go, more water. And this time I'm going to do it manually. And that water is looking much clearer. So you keep doing this until your arm falls off. You've fed up and had enough, because after all, if you're going to eat the butter quick, you don't necessarily have to keep it for that long. But if you do want to keep it, if you're not going to get through this much butter in a couple of days, you probably do want to keep up the process and get it nice and buttermilk free. Well, let's do the machine on that, shall we? Now, my first inclination was to put the truffles in at the beginning, but I think on reflection, you'd chew them up too much. So we're going to do this one more time, and then that should do it. Yes, you see, that's coming out pretty clear now. So there you have it, butter, straight from cream or creme fraiche, no added ingredients, and ready to be turned into truffle butter. You can make salted truffle butter, or you can make unsalted truffle butter. So you just take your truffles and pop them in. I mean, I don't know why I was crumbling them really, because I'm going to beat this in with a mixer. Now, important note, truffle oil doesn't come from truffles. It has truffleness, it has one of the chemicals in truffle that makes truffle so good. But it's not an extract of truffles, it's a chemical. It's made by distillation. Yeah. So when you get truffle oil to make truffle butter, yes, it would be quite nice, but it isn't really truffle butter. It's truffle oil made by distillation of something or other oil in butter. Okay, so if you can get a real truffle, a black truffle, a summer truffle is wonderful, a black truffle is amazing, a white truffle is, well, unbelievably delicious. That is real truffle butter. That's what we're making. Let's get mixing. Now that is truffle butter. But I'm going to be greedy. I'm going to put the rest of that truffle in here. And apart from a large amount of work, not really that much work, there is a large pat of truffle butter. Now you could just put that straight into a butter dish, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it first in some grease-proof paper. So there's the butter in its paper. We're going to just put that in the fridge and let it cool down a bit. And there's your truffle butter. time for delicious Marmite on bread. I can tell you, if you don't like Marmite, truffle butter with Marmite is going to really, really hurt you, because this Marmite is so rich now with that truffle flavour boost. It will work on cheese on toast, for example. There you have it, how to make truffle butter. If you can't get real truffles, truffle oil I suppose will do. It will give you a truffle-like experience. But making butter is just amazing. Cream, spin it up with a mixer, and you get butter.